Hi everyone. Hi. Hi everybody. Hi everyone. My name is Vaishnavi Gaur, and today we are here for a session uh, with Ashutosh Kulkarni sir. Before he joins us, let me just give you a brief introduction about the organization. The motto of the organization is chasing down for blissful reality, and we've been going and growing with this mantra. This organization has emerged by drawing an inspiration from the ongoing pandemic, as it wanted to take an initiative to help the masses out there. Though it is in its birthing stage, yet we are famous for arranging Insta Live with passionate officers. Guide IAS is also running a current affair programs titled 365 for 365, wherein you get current affairs compiled from different uh, websites, from different government websites, from the Indian Express, from the Hindu, from PIB, and we also cover static current affairs along with that. So it costs just 1 rupee a day, right? So that means 365 rupees per year, and 65% of this earnings goes to the needy people out there. So in addition to this, we also run a Telegram group, the link to which is in the bio. You can go and join it, wherein we provide the study material, articles, and other useful things that are useful for the UPSC preparation. So the best part is it is also shared by some very experienced officers, so it gives us a microscopic experience. So I'll just check if sir is here and I'll add him. Request. We need to wait for sir to join. Is there any, I guess there's some problem on his side. So I request you to please accept the invitation. So please accept the invitation. I am trying again. I guess
Hello,
he's here. Good
can you hear
evening,
me?
sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you very clearly. Good evening, sir. I hope you're doing great there.
Yeah. It's a little bit cold,
Uh,
but yeah, it's doing great.
so it's Missouri, bound to be
Yeah.
cold. So I'll start the session. So Ashutosh Kulkarni, sir, he's basically from Pune, Maharashtra. He's a mechanical engineer by profession, and he's done his graduation from Pune. He cracked UPSC in his fourth attempt with All India rank 44, which is a very great achievement. And his optional subject was history. So, sir, team Guide IS would like to extend the heartiest welcome, and we would like to congratulate you for this wonderful achievement that you've got in the recent times, and we hope you got a lot more in future.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, sir, I'll start with the session. Sir, this was one of the most asked questions we had. That even though you are an engineer by profession, what was the motivation behind you going for civil service examination?
I'll say there is a positive as well as a negative answer for that. The negative one is known. We have an oversupply of engineers, and we know the kind of quality of engineers that come out. So generally, that is the motivation for engineers, that you cannot have a job in that profession. That's why you search for other jobs. Secondly, what happens is that there is a push factor. Another push factor is that in private sector these days we don't know whether the jobs are stable or not. Like everybody of us is fearful, so everybody is searching for some stability or something of that sort. That also becomes a reason for joining civil service, because it's a government job. But then, as an engineer, what happens is still the proportion of engineers clearing UPSC is still more. It is because probably the syllabus or the way in which engineering is taught, a scientific or a mathematical bent of mind, that often comes handy in clearing this examination. So that's also a major reason.
I thank you, sir, for this answer. I guess it will motivate a lot of engineers to, to do something beside engineering. I was going through your profile that was available on one of the websites. Therein, I guess it was something that you've written yourself. So, in third year of your attempt, you've written "Pura Saal Barbad." So, sir, what were the shortcomings you had in your third attempt, and also what was the strategy you opted for in the next year?
Okay. See, what happened was in the third attempt, I could not clear the pre. And since this is a session about pre, so I think it's a quite important stuff to happen. It happens that it's quite an unfair process that in 2 hours your future for the entire year is decided. And if you screw up, or in a way you are not able to cross the cutoff, then your entire year gets in a way affected. So what happened was actually I was 25 years old then. So what happened was that in that sense, I also realized that if I just continue in this process blindly, then that may not be a right thing to do, because for every individual we need to settle down, we have to earn, then there are so many things that go on in our life after that also. UPSC is not the end of life. So what happened was, after in that 1 year I decided that this pre, I guess, happened in June, and it was June 2nd or June 3rd, I remember, and it was a very hot in Pune. I realized that after coming home that my marks are like on the very boundary line, and there is a very great risk of me not clearing the prelims. And so it did happen in July. I did not clear the prelims, but then I quickly moved, rather than sitting like that idle, depressed, or thinking of "Ab mera kya hoga, I'm a useless person." Rather than doing that, I decided that why not start a job? Like it's not good for me to settle at home. So I immediately applied and I got a job in Delhi. So it served 2-3 purposes. That I shifted out of my hometown from Pune to Delhi. It actually helps because then your entire circle changes, because it's essentially it becomes static if you are in your own city for so many years. So your new circle comes, your new job becomes a kind of a reality check for you. Your professional life begins. There are new colleagues, you need to learn a lot. That professional experience gets appreciated in the interview also. So then all of these things are often useful in spending that entire year. So I spent that year productively, and I'm really happy that before joining civil services, I had a healthy work experience of 2 years, and that actually helped me in the interview.
Oh, that's really nice, sir. Thank you for sharing that experience. I hope that since there are a lot of people who don't go through this in the first or second times, and that can be demotivating to a large extent. I guess this would be a good motivating factor for them. Thank you for sharing this. So the next question, lot of people are asking is that you, despite coming from somebody from engineering background, why did you opt for history as your optional subject?
There is no specific relation to engineering as such. It is just about passion. Like I was always interested about history, and then I decided that it's be better if I do history. Generally, I was of the impression that history may be a little bit easier subject for me. I was wrong. History is not that easy because the subject is quite big. But then the advantage that I saw in the future was, see, every time when you give this exam, you have to continuously keep on thinking about plan B. So what I thought was that in history, if it's my passion, if I can learn it like quickly, I can also pursue a Master of Arts in history side by side, which I also did. In the last 2 years, I pursued my Master of Arts. So I got an MA in history, and side by side, I also gave NET examination, which I cleared. So my actual plan B was, while I was in Delhi, that if I clear history, if I don't clear UPSC, I'll rather take up a job as an assistant professor in DU or JNU. So that was my plan B. So from that perspective, also you have to think. So that's why I took up history as a matter of passion and as a matter of plan B.
Okay, thank you, sir. So since like you've taken your option as history, so many people ask about the changing question pattern. So initially it was modern history that was being asked, and over a few years they've changed it to ancient and medieval. So
Yeah.
how do we conquer that uncertainty? Plus, should we refer to the NCRTs for studying history for UPSC?
Okay, this is specifically for prelims or for mains as well?
So you can tell about both. Again,
Okay, so
it'll
I'll
help.
first start with prelims. Okay, I'll start with prelims first. See, what happens is in prelims, history is like a blind shot in the dark, because even the optional people are not sure whether what questions will be asked and whether they will be able to answer it or not. So what I suggest is you'd be efficient. So then my first level suggestion will be, there are three modules which score more: polity, geography, economics, because there is very little scope of experimentation in these modules in prelims. On the contrary, environment, science and tech, and history, they are like a wide range. They can literally ask anything. So I prefer the first three modules that I mentioned. Do those well, and in history, art, and culture specifically, do a basic baseline study. Don't go beyond that. I'm not saying leave this entire module for option, but have a baseline study. But don't go beyond that, because the marginal utility of it is zero. There's no guarantee that if I read two more books, I'll be able to answer two more questions. There's no guarantee. So a baseline study. So what I suggest for art and culture is, there are most people do join for coaching institutions, or even there some of their notes are available. If you don't have the time to read NCRTs, because they are huge, like R.S. Sharma for ancient, there are two NCRTs for Satish Chandra in medieval, there is a Bipin Chandra for modern. There are like three, four NCRTs and quite huge amount of information. So if you do not have the time to do that, there are certain notes of classes, like small notes, ancient K, medieval, modern K. You can just pick that up. For ancient, I would specifically suggest go for art and culture NCRT. That is really good. It will create a base, and Nitin Singhania. But that's it. Like the notes of the class in these two books. But that's the baseline study. Don't go beyond this, because there is absolutely no guarantee that whether you will be solving the questions or not. Second, if at all you have to do some practice, pick up the question papers for many of the coaching institutions that they give, apart from the two main famous ones. I will not name them, but generally UPSC does not ask questions from the two famous ones, but maybe some other ones. Pick up their art and culture question paper. Your own database about what is art and culture, your own knowledge about the specific things that are asked will improve by solving their questions. You can just create a separate notebook out of it, and even you can read that much of baseline study is more than enough. If at all questions are asked over and above that, I would personally prefer not to take the risk and leave those questions in the exam.
Thank you, sir, for the tip. So the next question that is coming up a lot is about the current affairs. So that is one of the most important aspect of UPSC or any other examination for that matter. So are the monthly magazines enough, or how should we go about the note making, and what all website should we go for the preparation?
See, first and foremost, तो वो जमाना अलग था, like where you could read monthly current affairs magazine and clear stuff. That's gone now. UPSC will ensure that it will change itself very well, because it knows there are people tracking the pattern of UPSC. So it will definitely not go into any other. It will ensure that you will have to rely on something other than those current affairs. What I personally suggest is keep one newspaper to read, and it is very necessary, because it's not just about noting down current affairs, but then your general awareness of what is happening around you improves if you read newspaper. So your overall awareness of the things, especially economic news and policy related news, that goes on increasing if you read newspapers, either Hindu or Indian Express. Don't go for any regional paper, and not more than 1.5 hours for a newspaper, not beyond that. That's not your time of that's it's not wise to spend time beyond that. Secondly, you can definitely rely on the current affair magazines of various ones, but they should be after you read the newspaper. It should be like an add-on. It should not be the sole source of relying. Then you asked about notes making. I personally preferred electronic notes because they are easy to handle. You can sync them on the cloud. but then it's not that advisable to write handwritten notes, because the papers get foiled after 2-3 years and everything. So I don't generally prefer to write such notes. In that also, let the notes be crisp. I use a 1:10 ratio. Like even if a book is of 100 pages, your notes should be of 10 pages. 1:10. That is the compression ratio. Because then you can't write another Bipin Chandra by making a notes of Bipin Chandra. That's not fair. So you're just wasting your time. Secondly, those notes should be so crisp, almost like in a question answer format. Like assuming कि एक title है some issue GST supposedly, and I'm writing the notes of GST assuming that they will ask questions, यही सवाल आने वाला है, ऐसे ही करके लिखो. So I'll actually have a brief introduction of GST in the note itself. Once I revise those notes, I have an introduction of GST in my brain itself. I don't need to think what to write in a GST answer. Then the regular stuff. What is GST? What are the issues? What are the advantages? What is the current status? Khatam. All in bullet points. You don't even need to write full sentences. You can only have bullet points because you can expand in the exam. That is the most efficient way of writing notes. But again, a statutory warning. What people do is, you need people try to quickly just underline somewhere, write in the index. What happens is, before the exam, heaps of books pile up, and that itself will kill your confidence, because you know कि अरे यार इतना खोल के देखना है. You waste time in turning pages. Rather than that, if you have notes, you can actually revise those notes like 3 to 4 times before your mains, and then with that revision and with that less time in the mains, your brain will throw facts if you have revised your notes very well. So that's why notes making is very important. If you're actually embarking on a 1 year proper preparation, then never ignore notes making. There is no alternative to notes.
Thank you, sir. I guess it's going to help a lot of people out there. Also, the request that we should switch to Hindi. So, sir, if you're comfortable.
Okay, कोई बात.
So, sir, अभी UPSC 2021 होने में I guess around 6 months का time रह गया है. So, what should be the strategy of people? Like, there are many people who will be starting now because I'm getting the comments.
Right.
So, what should be the strategy of people right now?
मैं ये बोलता हूँ, पहले आप ये समझो कि प्रीलिम्स के लिए 6 मॉड्यूल्स हैं. पॉलिटी, ज्योग्राफी, इकोनॉमी, एनवायरमेंट, आर्ट एंड कल्चर, हिस्ट्री एंड साइंस एंड टेक. 6 मॉड्यूल्स हैं. मेरी जो स्ट्रेटेजी ये कहती है कि एक मॉड्यूल के लिए एक बुक, 1 मॉड्यूल 1 बुक, एंड रिवाइज इट अगेन एंड अगेन. उसको बार बार रिवाइज करो. बात क्या होती है, एक मॉड्यूल के लिए लोग बहुत बुक्स पढ़ते हैं. तो अभी वैसे भी 6 महीने रह गए, तो टाइम वैसे भी कम है, ज्यादा बुक्स पढ़ने का टाइम नहीं है. तो एक मॉड्यूल के लिए एक बुक यूज कीजिए. पॉलिटी के लिए लक्ष्मीकांत, ज्योग्राफी के लिए 11th-12th एनसीईआरटी, हिस्ट्री के लिए स्पेक्ट्रम, एनवायरमेंट के लिए शंकर आयस, इकोनॉमिक्स के लिए श्रीराम आयस, और हिस्ट्री और क्या रह गया, साइंस एंड टेक. वो एक भी गाइड्स या बेसिक उसके नोट्स प्रिपेयर कर लीजिए. बाकी का करंट अफेयर्स. इतना थोड़ा सा कंटेंट, इतना थोड़े से बुक्स पर ये बार बार रिवाइज कीजिए. दैट इज द ओनली कोर स्ट्रेटेजी. आप अभी 6 महीने रह गए, मैं समझ सकता हूँ, पर जनरली 3 से 3.5 महीने प्रीलिम्स के लिए काफी रहते हैं. तो आप अगर मार्च महीने से अगर चालू कर पाए, मैं ये सजेस्ट करूंगा कि अभी दिसंबर और जनवरी और फरवरी का महीना जो है, 3 महीना एटलीस्ट मेंस पे थोड़ा फोकस कीजिए. क्योंकि क्या है, अगर प्रीलिम्स सब क्लियर हो गए तो फिर एकदम प्रेशर आएगा. 4 महीने में कुछ नहीं होगा करने के लिए, एकदम बहुत कुछ होगा. तो अभी फिलहाल तो मेंस के लिए फोकस कीजिए. मार्च महीने के बाद, मार्च अप्रैल में और हाफ ऑफ जून, आगे 27 जून को है प्री, तो ये 3-3.5 महीना आप फोकस कीजिए पूरे प्रीलिम्स के लिए. उसमें मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि 5-6 जो मैंने बुक्स गिनाए अभी 6 मॉड्यूल्स के लिए, वो बार बार पढ़िए. अभी आपके पास टाइम कम है, तो मैं आपको कह सकता हूँ कि अंडरलाइन कर लीजिए, क्योंकि आपके पास नोट करने के लिए, नोट्स बनाने के लिए अभी टाइम नहीं है. तो कोई बात नहीं, अंडरलाइन कर लीजिए. आप जो करंट अफेयर मैगजीन पढ़ रहे हैं उसमें भी आप अंडरलाइन कर लीजिए, कोई बात नहीं. दूसरी बात, कम से कम 15 फुल पोर्शन पेपर सॉल्व होने चाहिए. स्पेस आउट कर दीजिए. बात क्या होती है कि आप एक टेस्ट सीरीज लगाते हो, उसमें मॉड्यूल पेपर सॉल्व करते इतना टाइम निकल जाता है कि लास्ट के 15 दिनों में फुल पोर्शन लेते हैं लोग. दैट इज नॉट गुड. दैट इज नॉट व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड. तो आप प्रीलिम्स के 1.5 महीना पहले से ही आप फुल पोर्शन चालू कर दीजिए. आप साइड बाय साइड मॉड्यूल्स का पेपर देख लीजिए. आपको अगर मॉड्यूल का पेपर सॉल्व करने के लिए वक्त नहीं है, तो फिर आप उसको सिर्फ क्वेश्चन आंसर फॉर्मेट में पढ़ लीजिए. जो सोल्यूशंस आते हैं वो पढ़ लीजिए, पर फुल पोर्शन आप पूरी तरह सॉल्व कीजिए, वो जरूरी है. तो 2-3 बार रिविजन और एटलीस्ट 15 फुल पोर्शन पेपर्स, ये जब तक नहीं होंगे तब तक प्री में कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आएगा. मैं वापस बोल रहा हूँ, लोग प्री के 15 दिन पहले तक पढ़ते रहते हैं और 15 दिन में रिवाइज करने के लिए कुछ नहीं बचता, बिकॉज द ब्रेन does not have the capacity to accept so much of information in such short period of time. आप नहीं कर पाएंगे. इसीलिए आप ये बात समझ लीजिए कि एक बार पढ़ के 2-3 बार रिवाइज करने का पूरा प्रयास कीजिए, तभी आपको ये प्री का थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा.
Thank you, sir. I would also like to welcome Mukund, sir. He's here. I mean, I don't understand right now what language should we go for. We're getting mixed comments, so I guess we'll keep it English, so if it is fine,
Okay, थोड़ा
because
इंग्लिश कर
so,
लेते हैं.
so that everybody understands.
Okay,
Uh,
no problem.
s- yeah, there's another question that a lot of people ask about. What was your strategy to prepare for ethics?
Okay. Uh, Now, this is such a question that really nobody can answer, because see, the problem is that there is no, even if there is a fixed syllabus, there is nothing fixed about ethics. But I'll tell you the baseline. The baseline is that there is a book called Lexicon that is very much used in preparation for GS4, that can be used. Secondly, there are many class notes that are available. दिल्ली के कुछ एक दो क्लासेस हैं जहाँ पे जिनके नोट्स काफी अच्छे होते हैं. ये दो बेस जब तक बेस लाइन आप क्रिएट कीजिए, इससे आपको काफी कंटेंट मिल जाएगा. बट द की फॉर GS4 इज इन आंसर राइटिंग. मतलब GS1 2 3 के लिए मैं थोड़ा भी बोलूँ कि चलो रिवीजन के लिए या थोड़ा आपका कंटेंट अच्छा हो, पर GS4 के लिए द बेस लाइन इज आंसर राइटिंग. आप जब तक आंसर राइटिंग नहीं करोगे तब तक GS4 अच्छा नहीं होगा. आंसर राइटिंग के दो है, एक थ्योरी होता है, केस स्टडी होता है. थ्योरी के लिए एक मे भी एक क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा एक एथिकल वैल्यू के लिए, इंटीग्रिटी के लिए, ऑनेस्टी के लिए, किसी भी चीज के लिए. उसको आप जितना स्पेसिफिक्स में लाओगे आंसर राइटिंग में, एग्जाम्पल्स देके, ओनली देन. लोग क्या होता है, लोग हवा में थ्योरी लिख देते हैं, ये ऐसा होता है वैसा होता है, एथिक्स में यू डोंट कॉम्प्रोमाइज, यू आर ऑनेस्ट, यू आर अपराइट. अरे एग्जाम्पल तो दो. That is where most people lose out in ethics. So in theory questions of ethics, the baseline is examples, and in case study it is about your creativity, because बहुत बार सवाल ऐसे पूछे जाते हैं केस स्टडी में which are really not that preparable. Like आप कुछ, you cannot just prepare it and come to the exam. They'll ask you some ethical problem, some policy कि आप ये problem हो रही है, how will you tackle this? Now that is your creative mind at that moment which will decide how to tackle this. So it is only about answer writing in mostly in ethics. उसका baseline preparation एक दो बुक से हो जाएगा.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So there's another question that is being one of the most asked right now, that how do we improve upon our English speaking? I know that doesn't impact our performance in the interview as well. So, how do we help ourselves with it?
First and foremost, there are standing instructions that your language should not impact your marks. It is the content. You please understand this. So you don't need to worry about your English. Secondly, you have always a choice to give interview in your original language. That is always there. So even if you give your prelims and mains in English, you can always give your interview in your original language. There are translators. So you rest be assured that don't worry about language, as it will never be a bar. Don't worry about that. That I don't think so. It's a interview. Mein the real problem is there are some blind questions that they ask, and you just don't know what the answer. You more be more focused on that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Also people have asked us that to ask you that what were the number of mocks that you practice, and how much time should they denote to that, and how to revise it effectively. What should be the strategy to revise them effectively?
Okay, roughly 3 to 4 mocks will be more than enough for interview, because if you give more mocks, you become too comfortable. मतलब it's like more about the novelty wears off, and then अगर दो मॉक्स में वही सवाल पूछा गया और एक्चुअल इंटरव्यू में भी वही आया है, you will end up parroting the answer और उनको भी पता चल जाता है that this is boring stuff. So 3 to 4 mocks is quite good. Mocks preferably give mock after your interview schedule is released. You will have a healthy, generally. See, what happens is, this time what happened with me, January 15th is when the mains result came, January 18 is when the interview schedule came out. Interviews to start from 17th of February. Mine was on 31st of March. वो कोरोना की वजह से postpone हो गया, but assuming normal conditions, you will already get a healthy 1 month before the first interview even starts, and yours will be ahead of that. So आपको, you assume that आपको 1-1.5 महीना मिल जाएगा. What I suggest is, once the interview schedule comes out, in the first few days itself, give a mock interview, blind mock interview. Why? Just to know where you stand. What happens is, people prepare करके एंड में कहीं पे मॉक देते हैं, वहां पे कुछ मेजर गलती निकल जाए तो कब इंप्रूव करोगे भाई? So first, give 1 or 2 mock interviews, understand where you lack, what you don't want, what you want to do, then start preparation, and then before your interview is there, in those 10 days, again give 2-3 mock interviews. That is the general strategy that I will suggest.
Thank you, sir. Sir, also the people asking about what about prelims? What about the mains or the mock test for the prelims? How do they give it, and how should they revise it effectively?
Okay. One thing that I forgot to mention in the prelims was you will have realized these days in the last 2-3 years especially, a lot of questions are being solved on intuition. Tukkebazi. As simple as that. Because see, like you attempt like 85 to 90 questions. Now, if you want your marks to really go above 100 with a normal accuracy rate, you cannot expect to like know all the 60-70 questions. It's not impossible. Generally, or even all the people who clear prelims or who are in that range of clearing prelims, generally they know about 65 questions, 60 to 65 questions. A and B type. A is like fully sure shot. B is थोड़ा सा ये option eliminate करके कैसे तो आ गया answer. The problem is that the next 20 to 25 questions that you have to attempt, everybody takes it blind. Like it's a tukkebazi. No, not even the prelims topper. Like there are very few people who score 130, 140. Only they know all. Majority of the people will be cut off plus 10 marks. अगर इस बार supposedly इस बार 100 marks का cut off गया, तो majority people who cleared prelims will be in 100 and 110. It's essentially saying that if they got 3 questions wrong, they were screwed. And then by implication, there were majority people who were in 90 to 100 also. And just because they did not get 3 questions correct, they were screwed. That's majority जनता उसी range में आएगी. So what happens is, in the last 20-25 questions that you need to attempt, सब लोग तुक्का लेते हैं because उस टाइप के सवाल आ रहे हैं. Either you know or you don't know. There is no reasoning that you can apply in the exam. So this skill of intuition is becoming very important in prelims these days. I consider it unfair because then the very good candidate often loses out because of bad luck that day. And there are people who do not really have any background or good study of UPSC, but then they clear. That it happens. This happens every year. So, but this is there. This is how it is. So in that case, I suggest that when you give your mock prelims, when you are solving like 15 papers, whatever, minimum 15 papers, mark those questions which you are taking for intuition, specifically, separately. That, okay, I'm solving and these are the questions I've taken for intuition. After you are checking your paper, check how many answers have gone correct. That will tell you your intuition power. On an average, most people have 40 to 50% intuition power. If I solve 10 questions, I'll get 5 correct, 5 wrong. But even if I get 5 correct, it is positive, right? 5 twos are 10 and 5 wrong, like roughly 2-3 marks. So 7 marks बढ़ गए मेरे. And that is critical because 0.33 से लोगों का cut off miss हो जाता है. So intuition power is becoming very critical. How to develop this intuition power? What happens is we restrict ourselves to current affairs of few classes. We don't read newspapers. Just उतना ही करके खत्म कर देते हैं. And most of the times questions asked are totally outside that. That's why reading newspapers is necessary. Generally आपके time pass जब आप करते हो तो generally कुछ भी लगा दिया. Some important stuff that is going on around us. YouTube पे अच्छे अच्छे channels होते कुछ देखा. Some getting extra information beyond what is there in UPSC. आपको याद नहीं रखना होता. It is just stored somewhere. वो option देख के आपका brain click करेगा हाँ कहीं पे तो पढ़ा है. That कहीं पे तो पढ़ा है gut feeling will ensure that your answer is correct. Even if you get such answers correct, critical answers correct, and you simply go like even 0.33 marks above the cutoff, you're clear, boss. You don't need to score 150. So that intuition power is getting very important in prelims. And this bar though we did the prelims, like we were doing the topper ski. So we were sitting and prelims ka paper khatam ho gaya 12-12:30 baje, and we looked at the paper. And the first impression was that, boss, this is so uncertain. Like most people who cleared UPSC this time, अगर उनको वापस प्री देने बोलते हैं तो आधे क्लियर ही नहीं होते. It's a blunt opinion, but that's how it is. So intuition is very important, and for that आपका थोड़ा general preparation पढ़ होना चाहिए. That's all.
Thank you, sir, for the useful tips. I hope it helps people out there. So I guess one question. So how is your training going?
Training is going good. Had not the coronavirus entered India, but yeah, it's been affected a lot because of the pandemic, social distancing, and there are many other. We have to continuously wear masks, and you might have read the news that there was a little problem of people turning positive in the academy, but yeah, we coped up with it properly. Fortunately, the officer trainees over here are quite disciplined, and we finally somehow day after tomorrow will be our valedictory for the foundation course. So our foundation course gets over, and the service specific training starts from Monday. So the foundation course went good. Whenever these people you will clear UPSC, you will make come to the academy. You will make good friends. Most of them come from diverse backgrounds, so you will learn to appreciate their background also. And then these are friends, are long lasting friends, because you are with them full time, 24 hours you are there with them. So you will make good friends over here. Mussoorie itself is beautiful, the academy campus is beautiful, the staff and the faculty are quite coordinating, so it's quite a good experience to be here at Labasna.
Thank you. So, sir, is there any last piece of advice you would like to give all the aspirants here?
I have been accused of being too frank, but still taking that risk. What I found was that most of the aspirants, they leave their mother hometowns and come to Delhi or any other place. And what happens is that they start in June, and by the time September comes, everything flattens. Like they do not have that motivation to study for such long time. Secondly, all the other extraneous considerations take charge. Like you are outside your home, money, पैसा तो आ रहा है घर से, तो let's spend the money outside. यहाँ जाए वहाँ जाए. They'll have matrimonial desires, and they will go here and there with people, with friends, with girlfriends and boyfriends. They will do everything other than studies. And I've observed this in Delhi because I was there for 2 years. So my last piece of advice is always know what you are here for. Be dedicated and in that way. कुछ नहीं होता यार, 3-4 साल आप लोगों से नहीं मिले, बाहर नहीं गए, कुछ नहीं होता. You are not going to die. So be very very clear about what you are here for, why your parents have sent you. Always remember that they have spent their hard-earned money for your coaching and whatever stuff, or you are staying here. So always be focused on what you're doing. Only that will ensure that you will clear this prelim, because like there are 5 lakh people who sit for prelims, but the reality is like not more than 50,000 are actually serious aspirants. Rest all are ऐसे ही बंदा बैठ गए, चलो कुछ. Because see, what often happens is घर से बाहर रहने के लिए भी यूपीएससी एक रीजन बन जाता है. आप लोगों को बताने के लिए, आपका बेटा क्या कर रहा है, मैं यूपीएससी कर रहा हूँ. That also becomes a reason, even if you're not serious about it. So don't go into that spiral. Be clear कि मुझे इस प्रोसेस से बाहर निकलना है और अच्छे रिजल्ट लाके बाहर निकलना है. Only then you will be able to succeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I guess we'll close the session and we won't take much of your time any further. So I'd like to end the session with this one quote that I read today. That is, the man who moves mountain begins by carrying away small stones. So we are all the people who are watching us, who are aspiring to qualify UPSC. So guys, keep working hard and harder, and we hope that you qualify UPSC. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here and inspiring and motivating and sharing such useful tips with us. And so we would like to congratulate for the feat that you've achieved so far, and we wish you all the best for everything that is going to come that's going to come in the future.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining.